Okay, so I'm starting a different format for this. You can see the full widescreen, and so I'm just jumping into spec-kit specifically today because I'd heard about it a while back. GitHub had launched it when spec-based software development was starting to become a, I guess, buzzword or more commonly said thing, and essentially I started using it yesterday because of a friend who mentioned it in a call, and it's amazing. And so it's changed the way I'm looking at developing, and it actually fits the way that I've been doing things perfectly. So I just wanted to talk you guys through it. So spec-kit as a whole is essentially a plugin that allows you to add some slash commands to Claude Code, Open Code, whatever you're using. So if you just look up spec right here, you're going to see a bunch of different spec-kit commands. Now, the way this kind of works, right? You have your constitution. These are different concepts in spec-kit. You have a constitution, a spec, you have a plan, and you have a tasks file, right? Constitution is kind of like your Claude MD file or your agent MD file. It's essentially the rules and configuration of your specific agent, things for it to follow. It defaults to Claude MD if you don't specify one. So that's how I have it set up. Then you have your spec. The idea behind spec-kit in general is you are thinking and then you are coding. With traditional software engineering, before LLMs, we would kind of code things and then you would go ahead and document what you've done. Agentic coding flips the paradigm in the sense that you are forced to think very deeply about what you want, what you need out of your product, how to go about it, how to deliver it, and then just go ahead and code it all up. So the idea is if you have everything mapped out, if you've already looked at all the nuances and technicalities, there should be no gaps, right? And this is where people kind of make the flaw of make no mistakes, build this whole UI for me without giving any other guidance, and then you are just falling to the mean of the probability distribution of the model's output. And so the way this works is you start with your constitution, then you create a spec. A spec file is right here. You can see an example on the left right here, and it's kind of like a PRD. You have an overview of a problem statement, you have different user scenarios and testing scenarios, the specifications of the enhancements you want, and then it kind of details all those out in plain English. Then you have two different flows. Here on the right, when you do spec-kit specify, that is creating your spec, right? Then it'll ask you, okay, do you want to go into plan mode, right? Plan mode is when it's going to create a plan file, and this is when it'll sequentially create your tech stack that will build out this product. So this is your technical implementation document, if you will. This is going to actually talk about existing components that already exist, key technical decisions, an architecture diagram, and then it's going to walk through each specific phase of your enhancements of your implementation and guide the model through how to actually implement that technically. Now, from your spec to your plan, you can go straight to it just by hitting spec plan, right, on the right here, spec plan, or you can clarify. Now, what this does is you can go ahead and then ask the model to ask you clarifying questions about what may not be clear before you go ahead and write that plan. So if they're kind of like a good rule of thumb is to just run it all the time, and just to show you like what this looks like. Anytime you run these commands, all it is a specific prompt, right? And it's going to go ahead and ask you, tell it to you must consider the user input before proceeding. It's going to put whatever your input is here, and then this is the scaffolding around it. If you don't put anything, it's going to use the base prompt, which is fine for most cases. But if, for example, you're wanting to clarify a specific thing or point out a specific thing, that is how you do it. Then you have the plan, which is either straight from your spec or after clarification. Now is when you ask it to create the tasks, right? And this again is just another prompt that is going to create a exhaustive tasks list to follow, such that as soon as these are all implemented, you have successfully validated that your end-to-end is working, so long as you have done your job of creating a good spec, creating a good plan. After that, you have different features where you have analyze, where you compare your spec and your plan to your tasks, and then you see whether your tasks is exhaustive or if it's missing things, or you go ahead and you just implement, right? And then it'll just iteratively go through and actually implement that. And I think this is huge, because for people who are not wanting to spend too much time in prompting, too much time in figuring out the nuances, this is a great way to start scaffolding, and it's pretty straightforward. You just clone this, and then you can just install it, and then you run the installation wizard, which just actually sets up the slash commands for you. And so, yeah, just thought I would share this. It's huge, and I feel like it's super helpful. But yeah, okay, that's all. Bye.